In this screencast, we're going to be covering the content access module. And what that does is it's going to give you an extra layer of configuration on every single page that you create, and it allows you to control the roles that will be able to view your page. And this came up in our in-person training, and actually before the in-person training, that you guys would like the ability, so if someone came to your site and needed to get to a page, that they would need to have access or special access, an account to be granted to view this page. And out of the box, Drupal doesn't do that necessarily, or it doesn't have like all the nice back-end tools to manage that as easy until you enable and set up and configure some extra modules. So we have a module called Content Access, and it allows us to for every single page type. So underneath add content, we have basic page, card page, news, and web form. We're ignoring document because that's going to be removed later. But these 4 content types, you'll have this same functionality. But just note that to grant access to different roles, it is only going to be available for site administrators and then the global like super admin, but the content editors will not have access to this. If you'd like to change that, you can, but out of the box it makes more sense to us that the content editors don't have access to this because they don't have the ability to create accounts anyways. And so I'm going to go through this process. So we're going to go in and let's add another basic page. And again, any types of pages, this will work, but I'm going to create a basic page first. So this is our top secret page, and let's just add any content to the body. So okay, so we have our content, our title, and let's add this to the menu, and I'm going to actually add it as a top level menu item. Make sure it's published and click save. And before I do, I just want to let you know, before you assume that it's going to be on this side, it's not. It's going to be in a tab after you save. So on existing pages, you'll see the tab, but when you initially create content, you're not going to see this functionality until it's been created. So let's create this page. So we're creating our top secret page, and then quickly, to hide this, because I'm going to copy this URL and go into an incognito window so this person isn't logged in, they can actually see this content. So to prevent access for just anonymous visitors, people without accounts, all you have to do is now click on this access control tab. So click that, and then for view any basic content, and then view own basic content, I'm going to just uncheck those for anonymous and authenticated, and then check this new role, special content access. We're only concerned with these 2 groups of roles that we're tweaking. Everything else we can just, the defaults work just fine. We don't want to change that. So under view any basic content, and view own, we're just going to keep that as special content access and the rest of the default. So we're going to hit submit, and this is just for this particular page or node, not all basic pages. And it's been saved, and let's click view. And for us, since I have the site administrator role, I won't be able to see any difference. Like, I can see top secret in the main menu, I can see the page just fine, but I should. But if I hop back over to this incognito window, just a regular visitor, if I hit Command Shift R or Control Shift R to do a hard refresh, I can see this. Now access is denied, and it's not in that top level menu. It's gone completely, and I don't have access. So it's working great. Now we need to create a user for them to be able to view it. So if I go to people, add new user, and you want to create a new user for each person. You don't want to create a global user because let's say if one person out of the group leaves and they don't want him or her to have access, then you would have to change that password for everyone and notify everyone. It just is kind of messy. So every individual email address, every individual user has to have their own account. So we're going to create a new account for them. And so we have an email address, a username, and and if you want to notify them, you would click that. Of course, that doesn't send them their password, but they could reset their password, or you could send them their password manually. But the biggest thing is you want to be careful with this roles selection. We're going to only pick special content access, and then we're going to hit create account. So now we have a new user. If we go to people, we have a new user with that role, and then I'm going to hop over to incognito, log in, with that account that I just created. And the permissions that I gave this role is very limited. Essentially, they don't have anything other than that they can see this toolbar. And I did that so they can go here and click their name and then be able to edit their account or log out. If I didn't create or give them access to that, I would have to find a different way and manually create links, which isn't as easy as just giving them access to this toolbar. If they click manage, they don't have any permissions to manage anything, so that in that aspect we're safe. So we logged in and I can see that top secret link now. So bam, I can go in and view all the top secret content that they wanted to share. And also, if you wanted to, you could structure this menu as a site admin where you have, let's go back to the home page. So you have a top level one that is top secret or whatever you want to call it, and then make sure all the sublinks are also protected as well. But you could have a whole drop down like this of all your protected content. So that's kind of why we compare this to kind of like an intranet for outside users. So you could have a whole other top secret or whatever content and then sub content below, but make sure all those other sub pages have this access control. Again, just click access control and make sure only special content access and not anonymous or authenticated. We want them to actually have to have a role, and that role is the new role of special content access. And everything else you can ignore, but later on, if you ever want to explore this module and its extended functionality, this is a great module to tighten up permissions. So only certain people can edit their own, delete any content, or delete own content. That's what this is for. But for the purposes of this intranet, we're ignoring that because it's not really necessary. But later on, if you wanted to extend your roles, like who can edit and delete and all that, this is a great place for that too. And this is per node, what we call node or piece of content. Every piece of content that we create, a basic page, a card page, news, web form, that's a page or a node. And we have access, or now you have access. And this is for all the GACs and the Nick site as well. Everyone has everyone that is a site admin has access to this and can create a user and grant them access to be able to go in and view that top secret or special content. They can even go in and edit their own account and log out as well. So that's it for this screencast for the content access module.